an introduction of Dr. Traore, I just want to say a few things about Mali. It's in the news these days, and I'd like to just provide a little bit of context about Mali before Dr. Traore talks more specifically about the railway line in Mali and Senegal and his role in activism there. So this railroad that we're talking about is a railroad that spans about 800 miles from Dakar, Senegal, which is the port town, to Bamako, Mali, or Tiecoura actually. And it's a railroad that was built during the colonial period, the late 19th century and early 20th century, partly built with forced labor. Unfortunately, that's how things were done in those days. And it was built with the idea of moving commodities, cash crops, raw materials to the coast, things like cotton. Mali was a huge cotton producer even as a colony at that time, and also labor. Later on, it would play a role in moving soldiers out to the port to fight for France. There were about 200,000 African soldiers, Senegalese and Malians, they were called Sudanese at the time, Sudanese, who fought in France. And later on, the railroad played a big role in decolonization as well. So in 1947, there was a huge strike that lasted about 6 months. And it basically paralyzed French West Africa. And this sparked a kind of labor union movement across West Africa, leading to independence in 1960. So this railroad has been very instrumental in the history of this region, and so it's for this reason that I think that it's really worth contemplating its deeper history and the ways in which it connects to today and policies of neoliberalism and so on and so forth, which I'd like to switch and talk about right now. So beyond the railroad. Mali today finds itself in a profound political crisis and subsistence crisis. You've got a rebellion in the north, a separatist movement of the MNLA, who are trying to set up an independent state of Azawad, as they are calling it. There's an Islamist insurgency in Timbuktu called Ansar-Dine, and so far I've been hearing reports of impositions of Sharia law and so on and so forth. Even mixed in there, you have Al-Qaeda militias and some Songhai militias who are serving as countervailing forces, I guess. On top of that, you've got a drought, you've got a famine, you have a perfect storm for a major political and environmental crisis, subsistence crisis, as I mentioned. There's a drought, people are running out of food, 200,000 refugees have fled the region. So on top of that, then you have a coup d'etat that occurred on March 22nd, just recently, overthrew the democratically elected government of Amadou Toumani Traore. So as if things weren't bad enough, the government in the south has been overthrown. Just recently, they transitioned back to civilian rule. They're promising elections within 40 days. We'll see if that's going to pan out or not, but personally I think they probably have to deal with the security issues in the north first, and the subsistence crisis in the north and refugee crisis as well. So looking beyond these things, this is the sort of wider context, and we can get into that if you guys are interested later in talking about the crisis in Mali. But in moving beyond that, I just want to say a few things about some of the pressures that Malian peasants and workers face outside of these events. And here I'm talking about neoliberalism and privatization that's been going on and having serious consequences for every ordinary Malians. So in recent years, we've seen a major transformation of the Malian economy, largely to the benefit of foreign capital and private interests. But ultimately, this has been to the detriment of Malian peasants and workers. Much of this has not been in the news, and much of it has been deliberately hidden from public scrutiny. A lot of backdoor deals between the president and private interests. And so basically, unchecked neoliberal economic policies are really threatening the viability of sustainable democratic institutions and the very social fabric that makes democracy work in the first place in Mali. So Mali is overwhelmingly a peasant society. So 70% of all Malians farm for a living. 80% of export revenues come from the production of cotton. And in recent years, the Malian Company of Textile Development, the CMDT, was privatized. And so in 2008, the government voted to privatize it, so it broke it into 4 subsidiaries in 2010. 2011, the first bidders came, and a Chinese company, a Chinese group, bought 2 of these subsidiaries in the south and the west. These are the main cotton-producing regions of Mali. And so half of it's been privatized. Peasants have protested this. It's unlikely that their protests will be heard. We'll see. Beyond concerns over cotton, access to land is under threat as well. the government has been selling or leasing land to foreign businesses. People call this land grabbing. And this is, again, part of this neoliberal push toward privatization. You know, the extension of freehold land tenure to Africa. So 90% of Africa is still under communal land ownership, use of rights, that sort of thing. But of course, the Washington consensus prefers that everything be privatized, that land be broken up into little parcels and everyone has a title to it. And so Africans who have been living on these lands for centuries are now being pushed off. And this is because the state is leasing it out, it's selling the land, it's privatizing land because they don't have a title. And so far, about 500,000 hectares have been sold or leased to different foreign entities. Some of these are being used for the production of biofuels. I mean, biofuels, you know. So this is a time of dearth in Mali, of famine, of drought, and they're going to be producing biofuels. And this, so to me, this is an egregious case. So these developments, I mean, they've sparked broad-based protest. We'll see what's going to happen out of that. Beyond land and farming, cotton farming, there's been runaway privatization in other sectors of the economy as well. Worth mentioning the telecommunications company Sotelma has been privatized. I think it's owned by Maroc Telecom. I think that's what it is now. Utilities companies, the gold mines in the south, vegetable oil factories have all been privatized. So these private stakeholders with a penchant for cost cutting, producing stagnant wages, discontent, of course, layoffs and protests. The government has mainly ignored the workers' voices. Labor leaders have been dismissed and even imprisoned. I'm sure we'll hear more about that from Dr. Traore. And of course, you know, one of these privatized entities has been the railroad. And this is where Dr. Traore comes in. And so I want to just shift and say a few words about Dr. Traore, and then that's all. So Dr. Traore is a railroad engineer by training, and he's a labor activist by vocation in his native Mali. The son of a railroad worker, he has an engineering doctorate and is president of SITRAI, or SITRAIL, which is the acronym for the Syndicate of Railway Workers. This is the largest railroad workers union in Mali. And since the National Railroad was privatized in 2003, Dr. Traore has organized and led COSIDERAI, which is the Civic Association for the Railroad's Restitution and Sustainable Development, lobbying on behalf of railroad workers, former railroad workers, and rural communities in Mali and in Senegal. In addition to his work in foreign politics and activism, he's also something of an actor, and I'm sure that's why we're all here, the fact that he's a super étoile. He was in the movie Bamako, which maybe you've seen it, Abdulrahman Sissako's movie. Is filmed in Mali, and so Dr. Traore played a leading role in this movie and did really quite well. And you should see that movie whenever you get a chance. It's going to be playing sometime in the next week or something. I thought I saw that posted someplace, right?
Thursday night.
Oh, that's right, Thursday
night at the Bethlehem Town Hall at 7 o'clock.
And you have to see it. It'll be like on a bigger screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So don't rent it and watch it on your little. Just see it. Go and see it on the big screen if you can. It's amazing, and it talks about all of these issues about the grievances that Malians have around privatization and the IMF and World Bank impositions. It talks about the railroad. It talks about love and relationships and things like this. And so he's also been active in the World Social Forum. Some might know about that, and participated in events across Europe and Africa and the ex-Soviet Union and United States. Most recently, he was down in New York as a panelist at Columbia University for a panel on the Malian elections. They probably didn't talk about the elections too much, but so let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Tiecoura Traore.
Many thanks to all of you who came to meet me. I'm very pleased to be with you. I must say that I never thought that I will be in the United States this moment, because I dreamed to go to India, to go to China and so on, but not in the United States, but it happens very soon. I don't know if it is a fantasy of what kind of power, but it happens. And I want to congratulate you and to say you many thanks. Thank you. Unfortunately, I have a very bad English, and I try to avoid misunderstanding. That's why I will do my speech in French. I'm sorry, but I think it's
Fine.
better. Je voudrais tout d'abord vous remercier de cette opportunité que vous me donnez pour
So
parler
I'd
de
like
mon
to
pays.
thank you for this opportunity that you're giving me tonight to talk to you and to talk to you about my country.
Il est important, surtout en ce moment, que l'on se parle.
It's very important for us to speak to each other right now.
Vous le savez, l'actualité est très brûlante au Mali en ce moment.
You know the news right now in Mali is very urgent.
Quelle que soit la préparation et les moyens qu'on a, on est dépassé par les événements.
No matter what your background and the means you have to work, the events have overtaken us.
Donc je vais essayer de partager avec vous l'essentiel des moyens dont je dispose pour que l'on se comprenne.
So I'm going to try to explain to you, as well as I can, what is at my disposal so that we can understand what's going on.
Tout d'abord, le Mali est un pays continental sans frontière avec la mer.
So first of all, we have to know that Mali is an inland country with no access to the sea.
Et ceci pose des problèmes supplémentaires par rapport aux pays côtiers.
And so this creates certain problems in terms of contact.
De ce point de vue, mon choix d'être cheminot participe de cela.
And to some extent, that's why my decision to become a railroad worker is linked to this.
Et ce qu'il faut dire aujourd'hui, c'est que le territoire du Mali comporte, en tout cas, il y a une bonne partie du territoire du Mali qui est un désert.
And so what I have to tell you is that a large proportion of Malian territory is desert.
Et ce désert est aussi un espace très difficile à contrôler, de manière qu'il y a des agissements dont vous êtes au courant qui s'y passent.
And this area is very hard to control, and as a result, things that are happening today come from the fact that it is hard to control this desert.
Et sur cet espace vivent beaucoup de groupes ethniques divers.
And on this desert-like expanse, there are many different ethnic groups.
Parmi lesquels il y a des Arabes,
So Arabs,
des Touaregs,
Tuaregs,
des personnes de couleurs différentes mais qu'on appelle des Keltamachèques,
persons who are of a different color and that we call Keltamachek,
qui sont justement dans le même, qui utilisent le même médium que les Tamashèques et les Touaregs.
and they use the same language as the Tuaregs, and
C'est les Touaregs parce que
Yeah.
c'est le langage qui est le Tamashèque.
yes, they all speak the same language, which is Tamachek.
Et dans cet espace, on a connu depuis plus de 50 ans des actions de rébellion.
And within this space, for the last 50 years, there have been a variety of rebellions.
Et cette rébellion, chaque fois, a été solutionnée en se mettant autour de la table pour trouver des solutions.
And each time there was a rebellion, a solution was found by sitting around the table and finding a solution together.
Mais il y a un acteur majeur dans cette affaire qui a été Omar el-Gaddafi,
And one of the major actors in this consultation was Muammar Gaddafi.
même si il ne s'est pas toujours montré impliqué, il a toujours posé des actes dans ce domaine.
Even if he wasn't always directly implicated, his actions had a relationship to what was going on.
Ceci a fait que une bonne partie des personnes impliquées dans cette rébellion ont rejoint d'une façon ou d'une autre la Libye.
And as a result, a number of the people who have been involved in the rebellions went to Libya.
Soit dans des camps d'entraînement militaire,
So either in military training camps
soit directement dans l'armée libyenne,
or directly into the Libyan army,
où tout en restant là, développent leur positionnement par rapport à une future rébellion.
and as a result were able to develop their standing as far as future rebellion farther south might occur.
Sur le terrain au Mali, les différentes difficultés comme la sécheresse des années 70 a été utilisée pour disposer de moyens matériels et financiers.
And the drought in Mali, starting back in the 1970s, was used as a way to develop financial means, financial support.
Très souvent, ça avait été utilisé, c'était prévu pour refaire le cheptel de chameaux qui était décimé.
And the financial support was often used to refurbish the camel herds that had been decimated by the drought.
Je précise que le chameau est la colonne vertébrale de l'économie des caravanes.
And you have to realize that the camel is like the spinal column of the caravan economy.
Ce qui fait que on a agi dans ce domaine avec beaucoup de compréhension à travers le gouvernement malien, mais aussi à travers des acteurs qu'on appelle les partenaires au développement.
And as a result of the importance of the camel and the drought, the various groups that came to help out were quite understanding of the situation, including foreign donors.
Et malheureusement, les chameaux ont été plus rares que les 4x4.
And unfortunately, the camels were a lot rarer than the jeeps.
Et les maisons ont apparu dans les pays voisins.
And
Les maisons des Touaregs ont apparu dans les pays voisins, comme la Mauritanie,
the
l'Algérie.
Tuaregs started building homes in neighboring countries such as Mauritania.
Et de temps en temps, pratiquement à intervalle d'une décennie, on a toujours vu la rébellion se reproduire.
And within a periods of about 10 years, the rebellion would start up again.
Et chaque fois, il faut donner plus d'argent pour qu'on développe le Nord.
And with each rebellion, more funds were required to develop the north. And do you mean that the funds that came to help the Tuareg were actually leaving the country?
They are leaving the country. Hélas.
Okay.
Et je dois dire que cette situation a duré et il y a quelques années, on a entendu parler de la vieille histoire de l'indépendance de l'Azawad.
So this situation lasted for a while, and then a few years ago, we started to hear news about the old rebellion of the Azawad.
Yeah, Azawad.
And what is that?
Azawad is the supposed name of the country of Tuaregs.
Ah.
Et this place, for example, their ideologue Gaddafi is going from some part of Mali to Chad. That means countries which are there can be divided in order to constitute a Azawad, you know. Et je dois dire que c'est à la suite de l'intervention de l'OTAN en Libye et la déroute de Gaddafi qui ont fait que ce groupe en tout cas près de 800 hommes, une colonne de 800 hommes ont été vus.
So it's as a result of what went on in Libya and Gaddafi's ouster, that a column of about 800 men was spotted coming south, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ils sont partis.
Coming into Mali.
Voilà. Mais il faut dire que quand vous regardez la carte, le Mali n'est pas le voisin de la Libye.
But if you look at the map, Mali and Libya are not neighboring states.
Donc, pour arriver au Mali, ils ont tenté d'aller au Tchad.
And in order to get to Mali, they had to go through Chad.
Et les Tchadiens ont réagi en leur demandant de rendre les armes et d'être parqués. Ils n'ont pas voulu, cela les ont repoussés.
And the Chadians said, okay, you can come through our country, but you have to lay down your arms. They refused, and the Chadians got rid of them, kicked them out.
Ils ont connu le même sort au Niger et en Mauritanie.
Same thing in Niger, same thing in Mauritania.
Et très curieusement, le gouvernement du Mali les reçoit avec fleurs et argent.
Strangely enough, it's the Malian government that welcomed them with flowers and money.
Pour vous donner une simple idée, 6 ministres de la République ont été les accueillir.
Just to give you a brief idea, just imagine this. 6 government ministers went to meet them.
Ils n'ont pas été parqués, ils n'ont pas été désarmés.
They weren't quarantined, they weren't disarmed.
Et très vite, c'était clair que ceci était dangereux.
And it was very clear, quite quickly, that this was a very dangerous situation.
Et cela de la part d'un chef d'État général d'armée est très surprenant.
And coming from a head of state who's a general in the military, this was rather surprising.
Mais les gens ont la responsabilité de leurs actes.
People are responsible for what they do, the choices they make.
Quand les premières exactions ont commencé, il y a eu des réactions face à ça.
When the first exactions began, there were reactions.
Et les personnes qui ont réagi face à cela ont été éconduites. On leur a dit, on ne va pas faire quelque chose, il faut les laisser, c'est nos frères.
So the people who were reacting to the situation, complaining about this situation, were told, we have to let the situation go, we have to let the Tuaregs go, these are our brothers.
Et ce qui s'est passé, c'est que sous ce manteau de silence, on a couvert le massacre de Aguelok.
And so what was going on is under this mantle of silence, there's actually a massacre going on. The massacre of
70 militaires désarmés. Ils ont attaqué un camp où il y avait près de 70 personnes qu'ils ont attrapées, mais ils les ont égorgés, ils ont déchiré leur ventre.
Qui a attaqué?
Ben, c'est les Touaregs.
So the Tuaregs attacked a
Malian
military
soldiers.
camp of Malian soldiers and massacred them.
Et là encore, le public a attendu que quelqu'un envoie avec son téléphone portable des images pour savoir que véritablement quelque chose s'est passé.
And there again, the wider public had to wait until somebody could send photos with their cell phone before realizing what had happened.
Et les pouvoirs interrogés ont fait semblant de ne rien comprendre.
And when the officials were asked what was going on, they pretended they had no idea what was going on.
Ceci a provoqué la colère des populations, particulièrement des femmes et des mères de soldats.
And this angered the population, and most especially women and mothers of the soldiers, the dead soldiers.
Ce qui fait que, à la fin du mois de janvier, au début du mois de février, il y a eu des réactions dans les camps militaires de Kati, de Kaï, de Bamako.
And this resulted in upheavals in 3 different military camps.
Alors, au bout d'un moment, les femmes de la garnison de Kati ont décidé d'aller parler au président.
And as a result, the women in the military camp of Kati decided that they would take things into their own hands and go and talk to the government.
Et bien sûr, ça a été difficile, mais finalement, il les a reçus.
It was hard to get in, but finally they were allowed in.
Donc, leurs représentantes ont parlé des difficultés qu'il y a et ont demandé à ce que les troupes sur place soient équipées de façon à faire face à leur mission.
And so basically the women asked that the men who were in the various military camps be sufficiently equipped to do their job.
Ainsi, au bout de quelques semaines, peut-être 2 ou 3 semaines, grand-chose ne s'est pas passé. C'est-à-dire qu'il n'y a pas eu beaucoup de réactions, beaucoup de choses concrètes qui se sont faites sur le terrain.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks go by and nothing happens.
Et les militaires ont présenté leurs doléances à leur hiérarchie.
And the soldiers, on the other hand, were presenting the same kinds of requests and complaints to their hierarchical superiors.
Et ça, c'était à Kati, au point que le commandement a dit que lui ne peut pas résoudre ces problèmes-là et qu'il faut s'adresser à la hiérarchie supérieure.
And so that was within the military camp of Kati, and they said they couldn't really handle this problem. They had to go to the next level up.
C'est ainsi que le ministre de la Défense
So the Minister of Defense, Secretary of War, whatever,
et son chef d'état-major général se sont déplacés sur le camp de Kati.
so the minister and his main military advisor traveled to the military base of Kati.
Let me interject one thing. So Kati is probably like maybe 10 miles, kilometers. So it's like, maybe 7 miles from Bamako, the capital. So it's right there near the capital city. So that's why they could march there, and that's why they could zip out there, and that's why they could overthrow the government, because they're basically in the capital. The barracks are right next to the capital. That's all.
C'est bien. Bon, donc ces deux messieurs et leur suite se sont présentés au camp et ont commencé à discuter avec les militaires porte-parole de leurs camarades.
So that's when the discussions began between the soldiers at the barracks, the military base, and the government, the minister and his entourage.
Au bout de une demi-heure, 40 minutes, le dialogue ne s'est pas noué.
After about 40 minutes, it was clear that they were not talking to each other.
Et le ministre a quitté pratiquement en fuyant la réunion avec sa suite.
And the minister left, almost running away from the discussions with all of his entourage.
Bon, ça a été interprété par les militaires qui faisaient des revendications comme étant quelque chose qui peut être dangereux pour eux.
And as a result, the soldiers who had been discussing with them interpreted this reaction as a very dangerous situation for them.
Donc, de façon subite, ils ont cassé les portes en tout cas des entrepôts d'armes. Ils se sont armés, ils sont descendus sur Bamako.
As a result, they broke down the armament warehouse doors, took what they needed, and went into Bamako, the capital.
Alors ça, c'était dans la mi-journée, en tout cas avant 14 heures.
That was before 2 p.m., about midday.
Et une colonne est partie à la télévision pour occuper cet espace.
And detachment went to television, national television, to occupy the television station.
Et une autre colonne a été rencontrée au niveau du centre émetteur, c'est-à-dire peut-être pratiquement à 3 km du palais présidentiel, par un groupe de militaires qui est de la garde présidentielle.
And another detachment was going towards the transmitter and was met by a group of soldiers coming that were part of the presidential guard.
Et là, ça s'est terminé par le fait que dans la nuit, le président a quitté le palais et le palais a été investi.
And by nightfall, the presidential palace was empty. The president had left.
Alors, donc ça, c'est le coup d'État.
That's the coup d'etat that just happened.
C'est pratiquement quelques heures après cela qu'une première déclaration a été faite
And a couple of hours after that, the first declaration was made. The first statement was made
par le groupe de militaires qui a fait le coup d'État, et les arguments avancés étaient la situation au nord et le manque de respect de la démocratie au Mali.
And so their first statement was essentially addressing the question of the rebellion in the north and the lack of democracy in Mali.
Et le fait que la gestion des affaires publiques était gangrénée par la malgouvernance et la corruption.
And the fact that the way the state was governed was essentially misgoverned and not in the people's interest.
Et dans les faits, leur engagement était de faire de manière que dans le plus court délai, l'État soit remis et reconforté.
And so their objective was that within as short a period as possible, the state would become again a democratic state.
L'opinion généralement a salué le changement de régime, même si il n'a pas soutenu le coup d'État en tant que tel.
And so the general public opinion supported that position, even though they didn't support the coup d'etat itself.
Alors, donc ça c'est le coup d'État.
So that's the coup d'etat.
On va parler de la démocratie au Mali.
And now I'd like to talk about democracy in Mali.
Dans mon pays, il y a tous les outils qu'il faut pour qu'il soit démocratique.
In my country, we have all of the necessary tools to have a democratic country.
Que ce soit la Constitution et les lois qui existent,
Whether it be the Constitution and the laws that already are in place,
que ce soit les libertés d'expression,
whether it be liberty, freedom of expression,
au même titre que les questions, les moyens d'expression.
as well as the means of expression.
Je peux vous dire qu'on a près d'une centaine de publications.
We have at least 100 different publications.
Nous avons près de 200 radios de différents types.
We have about 200 different types of radio stations.
Et il y a des dizaines de milliers d'organisations de la société civile.
And there are tens of thousands of organizations in civil society.
Vous pouvez créer un parti politique dès que vous respectez le cahier de charge du ministère de l'administration territoriale.
And you can create a political party as long as you respect the requirements that are in the Ministère de
L'administration territoriale.
Territorial Administration.
Et tout cela sont des outils qui sont très beaux, mais vous pouvez parler au Mali, en tout cas sous l'autre régime, vous pouvez parler, mais vous n'êtes pas entendu.
And all of these tools are very nice, but I mean you can speak all you want in Mali and you won't be heard.
Et ça, si c'est ça la démocratie, vous comprenez que c'est à 4 sous.
And if that's what you call democracy, then you can realize it's not worth more than 4 cents.
L'impunité s'est installée sur la base de la délinquance financière.
And lack of accountability has become commonplace sous la base de la délinquance financière.
C'est-à-dire, on prend de l'argent public, mais on n'est pas...
Yeah, so you help yourself to the public coffers and there's no accountability.
Et les besoins des populations, du coup, ne sont pas pris en charge tels qu'ils devraient être.
And as a result, the needs of the people are not taken into consideration the way they should be.
Pour l'observateur, il y a une arrogance et une insolence du pouvoir et des acteurs du pouvoir qu'on ne peut pas accepter.
And for the average observer, it's clear that there's a lot of insolence and arrogance on the part of public powers that is really unacceptable.
au moment où l'économie nationale est pratiquement finie, les gens deviennent des millionnaires parce qu'ils sont à un poste donné.
And even though the national economy has practically tanked, excuse the word, there are people who are becoming millionaires in Mali.
Tous les ingrédients de la malgouvernance et du manque de prise en compte de l'intérêt de l'ensemble.
And all of that is a result of misgovernance and a lack of consideration of what the national needs are, the people's needs are.
Ça, c'est notre vision de la situation que nous vivons.
And that's our view of the situation that Mali is in right now.
Mais quand vous allez aux États-Unis, en France ou ailleurs, le Mali est un modèle démocratique.
But when you travel to France, the United States, or wherever, Mali is seen as an example of a democratic state.
Ceci, les gens en avaient marre, mais se sont dit que les élections viennent dans peu de temps et peut-être qu'on en sera débarrassé.
People were really getting fed up, and they said, well, maybe with the upcoming elections, because elections are scheduled for this month, upcoming elections, we'll be rid of this situation.
Hélas, les choses se sont passées autrement.
But things happened differently.
Et c'est très regrettable, mais c'est quelque chose que nous pensons mettre à profit.
It's very unfortunate, but I think we're going to learn from this situation.
Là, on va parler de la position de la société civile par rapport à la situation au Mali aujourd'hui.
And now I'd like to talk about the situation of civil society in Mali today.
Comme je l'ai dit, il y a des dizaines de milliers d'organisations de la société civile.
As I said, there are tens of thousands of organizations that have been set up within civil society.
Et elles agissent dans tous les domaines, à commencer par les plus légers jusqu'aux plus durs, que sont les revendications de respect des dispositions légales.
And you can find them working at all levels of society, from the most frivolous to the most serious, and asking questions about civil responsibility.
Et les mieux placés sont ceux qui sont sur le léger, parce qu'ils sont très souvent dans un rapport de coopération avec le pouvoir.
And those who appear to be the most frivolous are probably in a good position, because they are probably the ones that are in closest collaboration with the power, the governmental power, the powers that be.
Il y a malheureusement, et c'est à leur honneur, une catégorie d'organisations sur lesquelles on tire.
And there is, unfortunately, a category of organizations, and that's all to their credit, on whom that are actually being targeted, and life is being made difficult for them.
Et ceux-là et les plus frivoles aujourd'hui ont tendance à aller ensemble.
And those, the ones that are being targeted, as well as the ones that are collaborating or in contact with the government, seem to be converging and going together.
C'est ainsi que, par exemple, en ce moment, il y a une exigence forte de respecter les droits des Maliens à décider du sort, de leur sort et du sort de leur pays.
And right now, there's a very strong tendency to impose the respect of Malians to decide on the outcome of their own country, the direction that their own country is taking.
Par exemple, l'un des axes principaux est le blocus imposé par la CEDEAO au Mali.
For instance, one of the main points is the blockade that the CDAO, ECOWAS, the West African Economic Association, has placed on Mali.
Et ceci a commencé à créer une situation plus difficile pour le Mali, en dépit de la guerre civile, de la guerre d'invasion, on va dire.
And as a result, this has created a much more difficult situation for Mali than the war actually has.
Et si, du point de vue de la société civile, la CEDEAO n'avait pas à agir de la sorte.
And the ECOWAS really didn't have to impose these economic sanctions on Mali.
On venait de connaître il y a quelques années des cas au Niger, en Guinée et ailleurs où on n'a pas fait de blocus.
And you can cite cases in Niger and in Guinea
C'est vrai.
where economic sanctions were not imposed.
Cela s'adresse aussi aux puissances comme la France, comme les États-Unis, mais aussi à l'ONU.
And this is related to outside powers such as France, the United States, and the United Nations. United Nations.
Parce que nous n'avons pas compris le traitement particulier dont le Mali a bénéficié dans cette affaire-là, qui consiste à l'écraser malgré ses problèmes internes.
Because we just haven't understood why Mali should be targeted in such a way, in despite of the problems it's having to resolve within itself.
Nous allons revenir sur le fait que les massacres qui ont eu lieu dans le nord, l'occupation du territoire qui touche à l'intégrité du pays, n'ont pas été dénoncés.
And I'd like to come back to the fact that the massacres that took place in the north and the occupation of the country have not been denounced.
Et plus sérieusement encore, nous avons constaté que les États-Unis, les Nations Unies, la France ont demandé aux rebelles d'arrêter leur avancée dès qu'ils sont arrivés à Tombouctou.
And moreover, the United States, France, and the United Nations have asked the rebels to stop their advance as soon as they have reached Timbuktu.
Nous ne pensons pas que notre pays, notre peuple ait la caution d'une politique, quelle qu'elle soit.
And I don't think that our people, my people, should be used as the hostages of any policies, no matter what those policies are.
Donc aujourd'hui, la société civile a été très bien représentée devant certaines institutions étrangères au Mali.
Today, now, the civil society has been quite well represented within certain organizations in Mali.
Elle a insisté pour que, lors de la transition qui s'ouvre de la sorte, on examine les questions clés du rapport au pouvoir et du rapport à la nation.
And civil society has demanded that the key questions that are of urgent necessity for the people be examined.
Donc on va suivre, on a une expérience des années 90 qui ne se délie pas et apparemment c'est un processus qui est engagé.
And apparently this has begun to take place, and we have a certain experience of this. We've experienced this in the 90s, and we're just going to have to watch and see what happens.
Après ceci, je voudrais m'entretenir avec vous de la situation dans le Sahel, dans le Mali.
And now I'd like to talk to you about the situation that is occurring in the Sahel in Mali. And everybody knows what the Sahel is?
It's the desert. It's the fringe between the savanna and the desert. It's like grassland, scrub. Sahel means the shore in Arabic, so it's the metaphorical shore of the desert, right? So it's a desert side region.
Et cet espace est un espace qui va de l'Atlantique à la mer Noire, à la mer Rouge, sur une bande assez large entre, comme il l'a dit, entre la forêt et le Sahara.
And as Brian said, it's a zone that stretches from the Atlantic to the Red Sea.
The Red Sea.
Yeah, the Red Sea, and it is between the desert and the forest zone.
Et cet espace est un espace très aride où, particulièrement cette année, il y a des difficultés énormes.
So this is a very arid area to begin with, and this year there are some very acute problems taking place there.
Les hommes et les animaux sont dans une situation de détresse alimentaire.
Human beings, animals are in a situation of a dire situation of distress.
Et on pouvait voir ça
You can
depuis 6 mois.
it's been very obvious for the last 6 months.
Mais la gestion qui en a été faite, tout particulièrement par le régime de ATT, a été une gestion calamiteuse.
And the way the situation has been handled by the regime has been a real calamity.
Je vais vous dire juste un exemple. Au mois de juillet, vers la fin du mois de juillet, les services représentant le gouvernement ont fait croire aux agriculteurs qu'il va pleuvoir jusqu'au mois de novembre et qu'ils peuvent semer.
Just let me give you one example. The government authorities led the farmers on and told them that it was going to rain and that therefore they could plant.
Et ça fait faire aux agriculteurs les derniers efforts pour rien.
And as a result, the farmers worked very hard for nothing.
Et un autre élément, on a toujours dit aux gens, on a un avion, on va faire venir la pluie.
And the other thing is, they told the people, well, we've got a plane, and we're going to, seed the clouds and make the rain come.
C'est une histoire incroyable, mais ça a été l'axe de gestion des affaires publiques au Mali.
It was a huge lie, but this is how the situation was handled by the government authorities.
De la sorte, les derniers qui ont semé ont eu leur production à une certaine hauteur et ça a séché.
As a result, those who planted, the crops grew to a certain height, but then they all dried out from the drought, lost everything.
On leur a dit, vers la fin du mois de juillet, de semer. Donc ils ont semé.
Yeah, they were told to plant at the end of July, that the rains were going to come. They planted, the crops grew to a certain height, and then everything died.
Et là, aujourd'hui, il n'y a pas de réserve alimentaire dans les familles.
Yeah.
Ça touche plus d'une quinzaine de millions de personnes.
Yeah, as a result, there's no food backup in the families, in farm families, and that's about 15 million.
C'est pas seulement au Mali, ce que je dis est valable pour, vous pouvez suivre l'actualité, c'est au niveau des institutions qui travaillent dans ce domaine.
And that's not just in Mali.
Mais au Mali, la situation est grave.
But in Mali, the situation is really dire.
Et face à ça, je vais vous dire quelque chose qui me surprend.
And I'd like to tell you now something that's going to that surprises me.
Au moment où cette situation est connue, le gouvernement du Mali, en tête son président, décide de faire un référendum constitutionnel qui coûte 8 milliards au moment où on a besoin de plus d'argent peut-être, mais pour nourrir les gens. Ils préfèrent faire un référendum constitutionnel au moment où il quitte le pouvoir.
And this really surprising thing is that the current president decided to have a constitutional referendum shortly before leaving power, and this referendum was about to cost 8 billion CFA. When, people are starving and dying.
Et je dois dire que la société civile dont j'ai parlé a fait examiner le projet de constitution qu'il voulait promouvoir et en a tiré la quintessence pour dire que ce n'est pas une bonne chose.
And these civil society groups read the Constitution, the referendum, the proposed referendum for constitutional change, and came to the conclusion that this is not valid.
Et malgré cela, malgré le fait que personne dans la population n'a été informé du contenu de ce projet de constitution, un référendum était accouplé à l'élection présidentielle. Le même jour, on vote pour les deux.
Despite this fact, the content of the constitutional referendum was not really discussed with the people, and it was going to be part of the election package. So you vote for the president, and you also vote for the constitutional referendum. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Donc en gros, voilà, on va parler maintenant on va parler de la privatisation des services publics tout particulièrement.
And now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the privatization of public services.
Tous les secteurs clés de l'économie nationale sont privatisés aujourd'hui.
All of the key sectors of Mali's national economy are today privatized.
Que ce soit la production de biens comme les cotons,
Whether it be cotton production,
la distribution de l'eau et de l'énergie électrique,
water, electricity,
le transport ferroviaire,
rail transportation.
les secteurs industriels qui existaient ont été privatisés aussi.
Industry that previously was not privatized is today.
Le Mali a le code d'investissement le plus facile pour quelqu'un qui veut piller un pays.
And Mali has the easiest investment code for anybody who wants to pillage a country.
Et donc, tout ceci est connecté avec une réalité qui est une mauvaise fiscalité et une possibilité d'être soutenu par ceux qui sont aux affaires.
And all of this is connected to bad fiscal management and to those who are in power and who are benefiting from the situation.
Ainsi, dans le cas du chemin de fer, on a fermé 26 gares sur 36.
As in the case of rail transportation, 26 train stations were closed out of 36.
Et les populations qui n'avaient dans cet espace que le chemin de fer sont restées perclus.
And so people who only could rely on rail service as far as transportation now are locked out.
Ils n'ont pas cessé de travailler, mais leur travail ne leur sert à rien dans la mesure où ils n'arrivent pas à vendre leur production.
Of course, they haven't stopped working, they haven't stopped raising crops or whatever, but of course now they can't distribute what it is that they are producing.
Et bien sûr, à un moment donné, ils se sont dit, quelqu'un a beaucoup d'argent, il a acheté le chemin de fer, il va le rendre plus, parce que c'est le discours qu'on a tenu, il va le rendre meilleur et nous pourrons l'utiliser.
Of course, the thinking had been, well, somebody has bought our national railway and they're going to improve it and we're going to benefit from it.
Mais au fur et à mesure que le temps passait, ils ont réalisé qu'ils n'ont que leurs yeux pour pleurer.
And as time went by, it became very clear that their only option was to cry.
Et malheureusement, c'est de la tragédie qui s'est installée.
And unfortunately, this is the tragedy of the situation.
Les personnes ne pouvaient plus faire face à leurs obligations parce qu'ils ne gagnent pas de l'argent.
So people couldn't pay their bills anymore. They don't have an income.
Et ils ne pouvaient pas, jusqu'au point qu'ils ne pouvaient pas envoyer leurs enfants à l'école et payer l'école communautaire qui coûtait que $1.50 par exemple.
And they could no longer send their kids to school. Local primary school, $1.50 a month. Couldn't afford that anymore.
Mais ça défait carrément l'économie locale de cette partie du territoire.
And so what has happened is local economy in this part of the country has been completely unraveling.
Dans certains cas, les familles se sont éclatées.
And in certain situations, some families have broken up.
Et les villages se sont démembrés.
Villages are breaking up.
tout cela a été vu et perçu par ce pouvoir, mais la réaction est que nous avons déjà signé un contrat.
And all this had been seen and understood by those in power, but, you know, they signed a contract. Bill of
C'est très
sale.
amer.
It leaves a very bitter taste in the mouth.
Donc, notre organisation s'est attelée à faire remonter les revendications jusqu'à l'Assemblée nationale, mais en dehors des promesses, on n'a rien fait.
So my organization worked to, Jean-François? Worked to bring these complaints to the National Assembly, and this is what we're fighting for, to bring the complaints of the people, those who have no access to transportation, whose lives are being broken up. This is what we're bringing to the National Assembly.
Voilà, mais nous, on est sur nos revendications, mais on est en train d'organiser notre démarche pour pouvoir arriver à la renationalisation du chemin de fer sur d'autres bases, de nouvelles bases.
So these are what we're objecting. This is what we're objecting to, and working to renationalize the national, the railroad, which has been sold.
Voilà. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much.
So we'd love to hear your questions. So please, yes.
Yeah. Is there any chance that the coup might help that situation? Might go back towards nationalization of the railroads and some of the other things, and help the situation with the crops and others? Is the first question. Second is, I understand. I'm sorry I didn't hear your talk. Maybe something else was addressed, but. I understand that oil has been found in Mali, and there's also a discussion that's been happening that since the coup has happened, the borders have been sealed, and there's some discussion of intervention, perhaps on the part of the United States, actually. Have you heard any of this? And, it seems like the old government was really the typical neoconservative, neoliberal type of administration, which our government in the United States really likes. And is there any threat of intervention or anything of this sort? And maybe this oil situation, I don't know, I hear there's oil under the ground, has something to do with this, because oil seems to motivate the United States a lot.
Oui, si j'ai bien compris, la première question concerne si le coup d'État peut aider à régler la question du chemin de fer. Et de l'autre côté, il y aurait des tentatives d'intervenir de l'extérieur. Oui, je commence par la deuxième question.
Et le pétrole.
Oui, justement.
So he's going to start with the second question, intervention.
En fait, ce schéma a déjà été monté par ECOWAS.
This scheme has already been planned by ECOWAS, the intervention.
En fait, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Quand on a dit quitter le pouvoir, sinon on va imposer le blocus, on a aussi prévu une intervention militaire au Mali.
So when the ECOWAS said to the government, the rebels, either you leave power, the junta, either you leave, or we impose economic sanctions. And there was an intervention that was part of the package, part of the thinking.
Il avait été conçu un contingent de 2000 à 3000 militaires des différents pays pour intervenir au Mali.
And a contingent of 2,000 to 3,000 soldiers was planned as part of an intervention in Mali.
Et ça, c'est très intéressant parce que le Mali a été attaqué par le groupe qui est venu de la Libye. on peut discuter, mais ça montre quand même que ce ne sont pas des Maliens.
Kind of strange if you think that Mali was the one that was being attacked from the north.
Non seulement ça n'a pas été condamné, mais on n'a pris aucune mesure pour pouvoir faire de manière que ce pays ne soit pas transgressé dans son intégrité.
So not only did they not protest against this invasion from the north, but no one did anything to protect Mali's integrity, national integrity, its borders.
Mais au moment où il y a un coup d'État à l'interne, on dit non, on va intervenir.
But as soon as there's a coup d'etat, then we say, oh yeah, but now we're going to do something. Now we're coming in.
Ça, c'est très étrange.
Very strange.
Par ailleurs, qui est l'outil de tout ça?
And who is the henchman of all of this?
C'est Ouattara.
It's Ouattara, who is the...
President of Côte d'Ivoire.
Le président de la Côte
Yeah.
d'Ivoire. Et ce monsieur, il est la personne qui représente ECOWAS, c'est sûr.
He represents ECOWAS.
Mais pourquoi il sent sa responsabilité seulement quand c'est le coup d'État?
And why is he reacting only when there's a coup d'etat?
Un pays membre de ECOWAS a été atteint dans son intégrité, on n'a rien fait.
A member country was attacked in its national integrity and nothing was done.
Donc ceci est dénoncé justement par la société civile et on le prie avec ses patrons de laisser le peuple malien prendre des décisions le concernant.
And this is what the civil society, the people, are protesting against and saying, well, let us
Et
take things into our own hands.
excusez-moi. Et la position qui est prise est que aucun sacrifice n'est vain pour faire entendre la souveraineté de ce peuple.
And the position is that no sacrifice is too great.
Can I add one thing?
Go ahead.
I think it's a very interesting idea that one of the chief negotiators with ECOWAS is the president of Burkina Faso, Blaise Compaoré, who we know is a great Democrat, right?
Yeah.
Having overthrown Thomas Sankara back in 1997, and through a coup d'état and doing nothing with it since then. But so Mali, the so-called model stable democracy, is taking advice from Compaoré of all people, if you can imagine. Tu me comprends?
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Oui.
So is this about democracy or is it about control? That's the whole question.
Je vais finir avec l'autre question. Le coup d'État en soi ne peut pas résoudre le problème du chemin de fer.
So the coup d'etat can't resolve the rail problem.
Mais la situation qui s'est imposée nous fait croire que nous pouvons amener à faire comprendre aux gens qui vont avoir à diriger le pays les vrais problèmes de la nation.
But the situation has made it possible to make whoever is going to be in power become aware of what the real situation is in the country and what's really concerning the people.
Et ça, c'est une voie pour permettre la solution de certains problèmes tels que celui du chemin de fer.
And this could be a possible way to find a solution to problems such as the one of the railroads.
Et il faut dire, c'est notre secrétaire chargé de la communication qui est aujourd'hui le porte-parole de la société civile par rapport au dossier justement de revendication.
And the person who is the spokesperson for the civil society is the Secretary of Communications?
De Kosidirai.
So the Secretary of the Association.
Yeah, the Association of
Railways is his organization that's trying to renationalize the railroad.
Donc c'est vous dire que nous pensons que c'est ensemble, c'est en intégrant les questions qui sont véritablement très imbriquées qu'on peut trouver une solution durable au problème.
The only way to find a permanent solution to the problem is to look at all of them in an integrated fashion.
Pour parler du pétrole, oui, on sait qu'au nord, il y a du pétrole.
Yes, there is oil in the north, we know that.
Ça peut être l'un des mobiles de la rébellion.
And it could be one of the motivations for the rebellion.
Et la déclaration de la société civile fait ressortir des accointances entre la rébellion et certaines puissances étrangères.
And the investigations by civil society have revealed that there are contacts between the North and outside interests.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's part of my question, and it has to do with the Tuaregs and declaring independence, wanting to form their own country. And they are in the north, although your description of the, you know, they're being spread out throughout northern Africa. So my question is, what is behind this? Who is supporting the Tuaregs in their effort to basically break away from Mali? And do you see this as a larger effort to basically break up Mali?
Je dois dire que les informations qui me parviennent font croire que pour régler le problème des otages français dans ce secteur, la France n'est pas sans soutien aux Touaregs.
And so France, in order to settle the French hostage situation that was present back there, had some connections to the Tuareg group in order to be able to resolve the situation. There has to be some kind of connection there.
En dehors de ça, vous le savez certainement, dans ce secteur, il y a, c'est un relais du trafic de drogue sud-américain.
And the other thing you have to take into consideration is that this is a point through which South American drugs pass.
So
The
the
drug
Tuareg-
trade.
It's a big smuggling zone.
The drug trade.
Cocaine,
Okay, through
cigarettes.
the Tuareg areas?
yes, it's
Okay.
that whole stateless kind of area.
Headed for where?
Europe.
A lot of it's, my understanding is that it goes north though, right?
Hein?
C'est vers le nord, n'est-ce pas?
C'est le nord et
Non, en Europe.
ça transfère en Europe.
Ouais.
Ah.
Ça transfère en Europe. Le cas le plus remarqué a été tout un avion qu'on a fait échouer dans le désert et dont toute la cargaison est partie. On ne sait comment. Et vous?
One of the most obvious cases was a plane, a full cargo plane that landed, crashed in the desert, and we don't know what happened to the contents.
Une des questions essentielles qu'il faut garder à l'idée est la situation en Libye.
The basic question you have to keep in mind is the situation in Libya.
On a vu une grosse colonne de près de 800 hommes, c'est sûr, mais personne n'a suivi combien d'autres sont venus avec des armements et des équipements.
So it's clear that there's a detachment of 800 men that came south, but we don't know how many more there were, you know, and where they may have come from. But we know about those 800.
Moi, ce que je peux dire, c'est que Kadhafi disparu, les personnes qu'il soutenait se sont dit, c'est maintenant ou jamais l'occasion d'avoir quelque chose à nous.
With Gaddafi gone, the people who supported him, I can say with certainty that they said, well, now this is the time to get something for ourselves.
Si on ne réussit pas, on n'aura pas réussi, mais c'est le seul moment où on peut faire quelque chose pour être à la tête de quelque chose.
If we don't succeed, if we do, it doesn't matter, but this is the time when we have to act.
Et ils ont pris le maximum d'armes, le maximum de moyens matériels, mais aussi dans ce secteur, il y a une situation favorable qui permet de se connecter.
And so they took as many armaments and material as they could, but there's also the situation which intersects with that, which is very favorable right now.
Donc, ils ont joué et ça marche.
And they played that card, and it seems to be working.
Donc, maintenant, ce qui est vrai, c'est qu'après qu'ils ont pris tout cet espace-là, ils sont en train de se battre entre eux.
And of course, now that they've taken this territory, they're beginning to fight amongst themselves.
Pourquoi? Parce que certains disent, nous on veut imposer la charia.
And because part of them want to impose Sharia law.
Les autres disent, si c'est ça, on va être flagellé, donc on ne peut pas aller dans ça.
And the others say, well, no, we really can't do that because that's going to, mess us up completely.
Mais sur le terrain, il y a 3-4 forces qui ne s'entendent pas et qui risquent de se manger.
So what you've got is 3 or 4 forces which are facing each other and which could, beat each other up.
Ce qui est aussi vrai, c'est que les Touaregs, les Arabes sont une minorité dans cet espace-là.
That's true.
And you have to realize that both Tuaregs and Arabs are a minority within that space.
Et la majorité des gens savent que cela les méprise.
And the majority of people know that the Arabs and Tuaregs despise them.
Mainly Touaregs.
So let me just add one thing. So they've declared the independent state of Azawad, which is northern Mali. And what he's pointing out is the Tuaregs are still a minority in this Tuareg state of Azawad. The majority are Songhai. You have Bella. You have other Bambara. You have Fulbe, right? So, and a lot of those are sub-Saharan African cultivators, right? So it isn't a pure Tuareg state. It never will be. But they'd like to have a pure Tuareg state in which they dominate these other ethnic groups. So I think that's kind of a point to be made in connection with that, which is
Donc
the
je pense...
utopia they're chasing.
Je m'excuse. Donc je pense que ça, c'est une construction éclectique qui va seulement déstabiliser le pays, on ne sait pas pour combien de temps.
Yeah, so it's a construction that's made up of various pieces, kind of an eclectic construction, and it's having a very serious impact on the country. We don't know how long it's going to last.
Oui, s'il vous plaît. Oui.
I was hoping to ask you about your involvement with the
Speak more
unions.
slowly, please.
Oh, sorry. I was hoping to ask you about your involvement with the unions and how workers have been reacting to the privatization of the various industries. What options do they have to resist, and have they been using them?
Donc, quelle est la façon dont les travailleurs réagissent à la privatisation? Quels sont les moyens de résistance? Oui, je dois dire que, en fait, la maladie que le travailleur a est la maladie du citoyen avant tout.
I have to say that what's wrong with the worker is also what's wrong with the average citizen.
Tant qu'on ne se sent pas investi du devoir de se défendre devant l'injustice, c'est compliqué même si on est travailleur.
And until you actually feel yourself compelled to act in front of injustice because of injustice, it's very hard to get a worker to react.
Ce qui est vrai, c'est que je ne crois pas, moi personnellement, je ne crois pas au fait que les syndicats peuvent résoudre le problème de la privatisation.
Personally, I don't think that unions can solve the problem of privatization.
Je suis convaincu d'une conjonction entre
I'm convinced that there is a coming together of
les propriétaires réels des services publics que sont les populations.
The real owners of public services, which is general population.
Les personnes averties dans les domaines concernés,
People who are well informed in those particular areas,
et les acteurs de production sur le terrain.
and those who are producers in the land.
Si ce n'est pas cela, aucune de ces catégories toute seule ne saurait résoudre le problème.
Without working together, neither of these groups would actually be able to come to some kind of a solution.
Hélas, il y a tellement de travail pour diviser ces milieux que la conjonction est très difficile à réaliser.
And unfortunately, there's so much going on to divide each of these groups that it's very hard to get people to work together.
Concrètement, sur le territoire au Mali, les travailleurs ont tendance à penser que c'est le patron qui les nourrit.
And to be quite frank, in Mali, workers have a tendency to think that it's the boss that's feeding them.
De l'autre côté, les syndicats sont en lambeaux. Il y a des morceaux de syndicats.
And on the other hand, the unions are in a shambles. There are bits and pieces of unions.
Alors, les pouvoirs publics cherchent à faire croire qu'il faut aller chercher quelqu'un qui a un gros paquet d'argent et ça marchera.
And as a result, the government is giving the impression that you have to go find somebody with deep pockets, and that'll take care of the problem.
Tout cela n'est pas facile à gérer pour le citoyen moyen.
And he's saying this is a very difficult situation for the average citizen to figure out.
Il y a en plus de tout ça, l'attaque, la répression sur ceux qui disent non.
And moreover, there's repression, attacks on people who stand up and say no.
Donc, quand vous voyez cet ensemble, en général, on va te dire à la maison, couche-toi, ne bouge pas. Tu as ce qu'il faut, arrête-toi là.
And so if you look at this big picture, you can understand why at home people are saying, you know, be quiet, don't say a word, just stay there.
Alors si quelqu'un lève la tête, on va dire non, c'est un fou.
And if somebody stands up, they'll point to him and say, no, this guy is crazy.
Donc, c'est les fous qui se défendent.
So it's only the crazy folks who are actually getting up and
Est-ce que vous connaissez un pays de fous, une société de fous?
do you know a country of crazy people, of insane people?
Donc c'est la marge, vous êtes à la marge. Voilà, donc c'est très compliqué, mais l'espoir est le suivant. C'est
Very
que
complicated, but there is hope, and this is where it is.
ce que les gens vivent au quotidien leur apprend de plus en plus de ce qu'il faut faire.
What people are living through on a day-to-day basis is actually what's teaching them what they have to do.
Et nous, de façon très égoïste, nous exploitons ça.
And me, and I suppose people that work with him, we are exploiting this in a very conscious way.
John, go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
just one correction. Tiecoura is not currently the head of the Railroad Workers Union. Something I don't quite understand what happened. He was fired by the railroads. Maybe he can explain that. I was also curious to know if are there any political parties of the left that have any history in Mali, communist, socialist, historically in Mali, that have played any significant role.
Sadi.
Yeah, thank you. Concerning political situation, political parties, il y a des partis gauchisants, on va dire, ça existe.
Yeah, there's some left-leaning parties.
Ils ne sont pas nombreux, mais ils sont remarqués.
There aren't many of them, but people take notice of them.
Il y a un parti qui est en perte de vitesse qui s'appelle le FASO.
There's one party that's kind of declining. It's called the FASO.
Et il y a un parti qui en tout cas, je pense, il va se développer, qui s'appelle le SADI, comme il l'a dit.
And there's another party which seems to be on the up and up, which is called the Sahel, as Brian noted.
Et en fait, c'est le parti de la solidarité africaine pour la démocratie et l'indépendance.
And its full name is the
Parti de la solidarité.
the Party for Solidarity and
African Party for Solidarity and Democracy. Independence, is that what it is?
And independence.
Solidarity and Independence.
And then anti-neoliberalism, anti-imperialism, anti, right? Omar Mariko is
Le leader.
right.
Mais je dois dire que le conditionnement dont je viens de parler tout de suite est tel que beaucoup de gens se disent, mais tiens, ce type, il perd son temps. On ne le verra jamais là tant qu'il est là.
But I have to add that this conditioning of the people that I was talking about before, where you don't quite dare stand up or stick out, makes people say, well, you know, this guy's never gonna amount to much. The party's never gonna accomplish much.
Tout simplement parce que on veut tout de suite et maintenant, sans peiner, sans vraiment suer, avoir ce qu'il faut.
And it's only because people want to have right now, right away, they want a solution without having to work, without having to put their shoulder to the wheel.
Parce que je dois vous faire remarquer que cette situation a montré qu'au Mali, si tu veux tout de suite avoir de l'argent, avoir une position, être bien vu, il faut être promu par la politique.
And what the situation has revealed is if you want to become very wealthy very quickly in Mali, all you have to do is play politics.
Tu n'as pas à avoir un grand diplôme ou être un gros travailleur, tu dois avoir la gueule là, tchatché, et se connecter avec des bandits, et ça va marcher.
No degrees, no hard work, just a lot of blah, 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 and connect with the bandits, and, you know, you got it.
Ça, c'est quelque chose d'important. Je m'excuse. La deuxième partie, c'est mon cas.
And his personal situation was the second part of the question, or the first part of the question, which he is answering now.
En fait, c'est très simple. Hein. Je gênais.
The reason he was removed from his position is that he was seen as a problem.
Mais je gênais de manière que je n'avais pas d'armes, donc on ne peut pas m'écouter.
The problem was that he didn't have any armaments, so they wouldn't listen to him.
J'ai écrit au pouvoir.
He wrote. He was writing. He wrote to powers that be.
Je suis parti à la radio, j'ai parlé.
Spoke on the radio.
Je suis parti dans un groupe, des rencontres, j'ai parlé aux gens.
Went to meetings, talked to people.
J'ai fait le long du chemin de fer des voyages pour expliquer aux gens, n'acceptez pas qu'on privatise, c'est mauvais.
He rode along the railroad, stopped along the way, spoke to people, told them don't accept what they're shoving down your throats.
Mais au même moment, je n'ai jamais failli à mon travail, à mes devoirs au lieu de travail.
And at the same time, he just never did anything to violate his work contract. Always respected his job.
Mais il fallait éviter que je sois là, que je puisse parler et donner une leçon à tous ceux qui voudraient parler.
And so the idea was to get rid of him so that people couldn't hear him, and also to give a lesson to people who might have the idea of doing something similar.
Et les premiers qui m'ont lâché, c'est mon entourage dans le syndicat, dans le bureau exécutif du syndicat.
And the first people to betray him were part of his executive board in the union. The people who backed him up most closely.
Donc, en violation de toutes les règles sociales du travail, j'ai été licencié.
And breaking all the rules that govern work rules that govern a workman's situation in Mali, he was kicked out.
Ainsi, sans droit, sans indemnité.
No rights, no reimbursements, nothing.
Après
No
29 ans, 11 mois et 17 jours de travail.
No pension after 29 years, 11 months and 10 days of work.
Donc, voilà, je suis devant vous et ceux qui ont fait ça ne me voient pas, mais ceux qui les ont aidés, quand ils me voient, tout au plus, ils baissent la tête.
And so he's saying, so here I am, standing in front of you. The people who did this to me don't see me, but the folks who were there, the henchmen who facilitated this, when they see me, they hang their heads and look the other way.
Mais je continue à aider ce syndicat à aller dans des rencontres, dans des réseaux.
But I'm still helping the union to, have meetings, go to meetings, connect to networks.
Ainsi, certains d'entre eux sont membres du réseau Rails sans frontières que nous avons contribué à créer.
And some of them are members of Railroaders Without Borders that we helped to create.
Et nous venons de tenir le dernier forum du réseau Rails sans frontières à Bamako, organisé par Kousidiraï.
And we just held the last meeting of Railroaders Without Borders in Bamako, which was organized by Kousidiraï.
Et c'est un réseau d'organisations syndicales, essentiellement syndicales, français, différents pays africains et de quelques rares associations comme Kousidiraï et Thai Germany.
And it's an association of networks of railroaders, mainly from France, from African countries, and a few from Europe, like Germany.
Yeah. Alors, s'il vous plaît.
I'm intrigued by the similarities in your description of the political responses of the population and of the higher-ups in the unions with what we face in this country. But I'm rather jealous of having a situation where you could privatize the railroads or privatize the power companies. We've had them private all along. Now the question is, have you privatized the post office yet?
No, the post office is not yet privatized.
Are they talking about privatizing?
Yeah, there was the first step was to make operating post office services, package and so on, by somebody or some organization which are private. Mm-hmm. And the next step, I think they will try to do it soon, but I don't know if the situation now can allow to do that or not. This is one question.
Okay, one last question, and then we'll call.
There's somebody who wants to.
Okay.
Right here.
Okay. I didn't see that.
Last question.
Yep. You.
Okay, sorry, you were looking around still, sorry. You've spoken a lot about the efforts of the railroad workers opposing privatization efforts. Are there any larger political efforts which are combining workers of all trades under a united working class platform to oppose this onslaught of capitalist privatization, something that's broader based and just the general interests of the worker?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand very well what they wrote.
Sorry,
please.
Il demande s'il n'y a pas, vous avez parlé beaucoup des syndicats des cheminots, et il se demande s'il n'y a pas un organisme qui réunit plusieurs syndicats travaillant avec les syndiqués dans d'autres domaines que les cheminots, afin de pouvoir présenter une plateforme ou des projets au gouvernement.
Ouais, c'est ça. Oui, ça c'est le gros problème.
That's the big problem.
En fait, il y a aujourd'hui au Mali, il y a 4 centrales, on les appelle comme ça, centrales syndicales.
So there are 4 main union organizations.
Et là-dedans, il y en a 2 qui réagissent. Par exemple, dans la COPEM, c'est-à-dire dans l'activité de la société civile, il y a une des centrales.
So there are 2 of them that are active and one of them that is actually working within civil society as well.
Et agit dans le sens de ce que j'ai décrit comme étant leurs exigences et leurs démarches.
And I mean that this union is working in the direction that civil society is interested in, that I just described earlier.
Mais il y a celle qui a l'héritage de tout le mouvement syndical malien qui aujourd'hui est du côté du pouvoir qui était tombé et qui veut le restaurer.
But the other union groups are the product of the political past and of the government that has just fallen, and would like to see it restored.
Donc, c'est vraiment une situation qui est telle que on prend le chemin de fer. Vous avez, c'est misère quoi. Vous avez environ 700 ou 800 travailleurs qui sont divisés en 4 syndicats.
If you just take the railroad workers, for instance, there are combien?
4 syndicats.
Oui, mais combien de?
Entre 700 et 800 personnes.
It's between 700 and 800 workers, and they're divided up into 4 different groups.
Et ces 4 vont aussi aller derrière les centrales là. Vous imaginez très bien que
And so the 4 of them are actually behind these various main union groups. And so you can imagine what kind of a situation this is.
Et je dois vous dire que quand nous avons participé à la mise en place de CITRAI comme syndicat de travailleurs du chemin de fer, dans le contexte de la privatisation, ce qu'on a voulu et qu'on a exigé, qu'on a voulu faire comprendre aux gens, c'est qu'il faut qu'on soit unis, qu'il y ait un seul syndicat.
And when I was involved in creating the union, the idea of the Railroad Workers Union, the idea was to make people understand that you have to be united. You can't be all of these splinter groups. You absolutely have to be united.
Parce que c'est la seule façon dont on pourrait nous prendre au sérieux.
And it's the only way you can be taken seriously.
Et hélas, quand on a cru que quelqu'un était là en train de faire ses choux gras, et on l'a vidé et puis c'est parti.
But unfortunately, that's not how it worked. I mean,
aujourd'hui, ils se cachent, ils ont peur.
Today, they're in hiding, they're afraid.
L'entreprise est carrément à genoux, elle ne peut plus rien faire, mais ils ne peuvent pas dire qu'on doit faire autre chose pour reprendre le chemin de fer en main.
L'entreprise, c'est quoi?
C'est l'entreprise de chemin de fer. Ça y est, c'est le management du chemin de fer, ses moyens sont capoutes. On parle là je dis, dans le cas du chemin de fer,
Ouais.
les syndicalistes, les syndicats, les travailleurs ont peur. Même si, pratiquement, ils sont dans une situation où on ne peut même pas assurer le minimum, même le salaire n'est plus régulier. Mais ils ne peuvent pas faire de propositions parce qu'ils ne sont pas ensemble.
Yeah, so the workers are completely exploited because they're not speaking with one voice and they're afraid.
Well, thank you, everybody. And I'll remind you, you can see him on the silver screen next Thursday night. Where is it again?
Bethlehem Town Hall, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. It's a great movie.
Moi, je vous remercie.